You know it's spring training when people are overreacting about Arizona Diamondbacks losses and every freeway in the city is in gridlock. We are talking about them reversing at least one of those things right now in 30 seconds. Don't you go anywhere. We're starting. Let's go. Welcome into another edition of the PHNX Diamondbacks podcast right here on PHNX. No, you're not watching the Cardinals. Those boys did their show early. You're watching, I guess, to the winner here in town. That probably isn't an accurate description based on spring training so far, but welcome in to the PHNX Dbacks show. My name is Derek Montia, occasionally known as your mayor of PHNX. Very excited to be here today. I got my guy, Kev Thomas, aka Large Intimate on the ones and twos. Kev, how you like my shirt today?
I love it. I just got back from St. Louis and I was walking past Ballpark Village and all that, and
a little Aussie action.
Had to tell my girlfriend, like, hey, you know who that is on that statue? That's Ozzie Smith. You know who that is?
That's a wizard.
Yeah.
You know what though? It's a beautiful time for baseball. Like I said, the freeways are jammed packed with people here in town. Baseball is being played, and there's a lot to talk about when it comes to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Welcome into you guys. Of course, this show is brought to you by the fine folks at All Pro Shades. Of course, if you want to extend your outdoor living space with a custom fit awning, make sure to check out our guys over at All Pro Shades. Lot to talk about. I guess spring training, again, it's that time of the year. Diamondbacks were 0-3 coming into today, but lo and behold, today they finally win their first game, taking home the victory over the Guardians. And Kevin, do we even care about records during spring training at all?
No, Derek. No, Derek.
Can we get happy about the Cubs beating the crap out of the Dodgers, or no? Do we not even get excited about that?
Yes, Derek.
Okay, that would be a little excited about that one, but yeah. No, I mean, it's spring training, right? I mean, you're excited your team's back. You're excited everything's going on. Very excited that Corbin Carroll hit a dinger today. That was nice. He put the first run on the board for the Diamondbacks. That was his first of the season. But, again, the Diamondbacks won this one by a score of 4-3 over the Cleveland Guardians. And, again, not to be too excited over the win or too sad over the losses because it's spring training. Of course, we do have a couple of interesting storylines so far to kind of discuss. Zach Gallen got the start today. He didn't go as long as Torey Lovullo, I guess, suggested that he might go, but he still was pretty good. Gave up a home run, though. And I feel like everything is kind of under a little bit of scrutiny here when we're talking about what happened with our guys. You got Gallen going one inning, giving up one hit, which is that one home run. Struck out two, though. Didn't walk anyone. But we also have the fact that, on the other hand, Corbin Burnes made his start, and he was perfect. Corbin Burnes was fairly outstanding in his start. And, of course, you expect that. You get fired up by it. You get excited that Corbin Burnes is going out there and being perfect in his first outing of the season. But does it mean anything yet? Am I looking too much into it, Kevin? Especially when we're still debating here, trying to get an idea from Torey Lovullo on who's going to be the opening day starter?
I think you're right to get excited, especially because there is this back and forth in the fan base of, who's going to be day one starter? And then, they're each giving you indications as a fan as who you would pick if you were the manager. But I think Torey Lovullo, he's not really reading too much into these early performances. He knows who he has, so to speak.
Corbin Burnes goes out there. I mean, again, it's the Rockies. He goes down, he strikes out Bretton Doyle, Kyle Farmer, and Ryan McMahon in order on 16 pitches, right? You can't be upset about that. When your team goes out and adds somebody the caliber of Corbin Burnes, I don't give a damn if it is spring training. This is the exact kind of outing you want in just one inning of work, and this gets you excited. It's hard not to get excited about Corbin Burnes being a part of this team after seeing him go out and do that in a very limited capacity. However, again, there's the quintessential Zach Gallen outing that kind of happened today. You're not unimpressed by it, but he did give up a home run. He gave up a run. and it's not perfect. It's not what we saw out of Corbin Burns. And yeah, I mean, Julio Lugo might not be right. I might be wrong. He said Gallen gave up a home run. He's already in midseason form. Gallen's always been good at bouncing back, but he's never really been dominant. And I think that's the difference here, is that Gallen has been our ace. Gallen has been the guy that's been at the top of the order. Gallen has been the most consistent starting pitcher on the Diamondbacks during his tenure here. But it really now comes down to Corbin Burns kind of being elite. And I hate to act like Zach Gallen isn't elite, but am I wrong in saying that by comparing the two, you just feel a little bit more like Corbin Burns is that?
No, I think that's a fair assessment. And I also think that there's a certain level of, there's just levels to this, Derek. Like Zach Gallen might be elite, right? He might be elite, but Corbin Burns is that top tier that every team in the league would automatically want as their ace, or just, well, maybe not every team, but most teams, right?
Right. And I mean, there's a couple of other things that definitely serve in Gallen's favor, right? Like Gallen is the man here, so they don't, want to necessarily rock the boat. They might want to keep Gallen at number one just based on that. Corbin Burns has also been the opening day starter for whatever team he's been on, so there's that. However, Zach Gallen does currently line up for opening day as far as his start today, and you count out days, games, going using math as one Jesse would tell me to do, using math, you can extrapolate out that right now Gallen is on course to line up for opening day, and Corbin Burns, meanwhile, would be currently on course to be the number 2 starter behind Gallen. Torey Lovullo did tell reporters that that's not anything to really look into, but I don't know. I will say this, that I love and appreciate Zach Gallen for the pitcher he's been for this team, but one, I don't really care who starts on opening day. It only matters on opening day. And two, I think that if Burns goes out there and continues to look like this during spring training, then it's hard not to start the season on the right foot with your most dominant pitcher starting on opening day, right? So, I mean, again, it feels like it's very much trending in a direction where there's a little bit of a battle for that opening day spot, but trust me when I say this, to Torey, to the team, maybe even to both guys, it really doesn't matter. It's just more about getting into the season. And once you get past that opening day, once you get through the rotation one time, it's all kind of a wash. So there's that. But it's a fun storyline for right now. And there's a couple of other fun storylines too, obviously, considering the Diamondbacks have a lot to still determine in regards to their pitching, their starting pitching staff, and their relief pitching. But there was an update on Jordan Montgomery, who has yet to throw a bullpen this spring due to a flexor strain in his left index finger that he said he injured in his final pre-spring training bullpen session. So he is scheduled to now throw a bullpen tomorrow. We will see how that goes, and we'll bring you an update on how that goes during Wednesday's show. However, I don't know if I now need to change the description on one Jordan Montgomery, because I had said he was
show me the Carfax, Derek. Show me the Carfax. Show me those Carfax, Derek.
I mean, there's a lot there. Piece of Yoshi says there goes the trade. There goes the trade into the Mets plan. Mets might have overpaid. They might be overpaying for everybody, so that still might be a good plan. But he said, I don't think they need a third injured starter. Not so fast. It's interesting, though. I mean, we know Montgomery is kind of the man, at least that many fans determine is the odd man out. I don't know if the team internally, I don't know if Mike Hazen, I don't know if Torey Lovullo determines Jordan Montgomery to be the odd man out. But all things considered, everything was trending in a very positive direction for Monty. So this kind of sucks that it derails it. And it kind of sucks that, now we have this situation where, we don't know when he's going to get a start, when we're going to see him pitch. I'd like to see him pitch. I want to see where he's at. I think that's what everybody is excited to see. What do you think?
I honestly think, Derek, that you were kind of talking about how a lot of people want to get rid of Monty. Joey in the chat here says get rid of Monty. But I almost feel like Montgomery is the pitcher that determines the floor of, or maybe not the floor, but the ceiling of the Diamondbacks the most, right? Because if Jordan Montgomery comes back and is Jordan Montgomery that you know and love, and you want to maybe refurbish, then I think that the D-backs ceiling is drastically different than if they trade Montgomery for parts, and then maybe the sum of those parts don't equal one fully pre-loved Jordan Montgomery, right? So
well, and I'll tell you this much: I think that the one problem here is this doesn't help his case in either direction. It doesn't help the Diamondbacks try to trade him, right? Like, again, there was already reservations. Teams already had their concerns, I'm sure, about bringing him over and wondering what condition he was going to be in. Now, again, it's going to have to at least wait a little bit longer to see, but not too much longer. So hopefully we'll get to see how Jordan Montgomery looks tomorrow. And again, there's just a lot of other storylines. You've seen the Diamondbacks kind of, I don't know. I've seen a lot of young pitchers. We saw Blake Walston today. We saw a lot of the guys from the minor league system getting opportunities in spring training, just not necessarily, I don't know, the battles that I thought we would see, right? I thought we would see some more in regards to the bullpen, and I'm sure we still will. It just, it's taking a little while. This is how it is, though. It's spring training, right? Everybody kind of expects everything to move a little bit faster, be a little different. And I will tell you the one thing I take away from Torey Lovullo's daily press meetings and honestly even speaking to the players is that results don't matter. Players are working on things that they might not even do once, the regular season comes around. And again, I think outside of a few maybe positional battles, like again, there's some starting pitchers I think that are trying to impress and trying to go out there and do their thing for obvious reasons. I don't get too ahead of myself. I will say this: the weather has been damn perfect. The everything, the vibes have been great. It was an amazing weekend. We were all out at Innings Fest this weekend. I think I have a question about that in Mailbag. So that's fun. And it's all things considered, it's a beautiful opening to the spring training weekend. There's still a lot of excitement about the Diamondbacks, and I think that's one thing, being out in Mesa. There were actually more Diamondbacks fans in Mesa than there were Cubs fans, and I found that not only surprising, but delightful. Big shout out to all of you that came out to watch me yammer on stage for 45 minutes, which is basically what I do on this show, but still, nonetheless. I'm also very excited to be joined today. We got a little surprise for you guys. We got one Dalton Feely from John Boy joining us on the other side of this break. Can't wait to bring him in here and get his thoughts, especially on everything going on with the Diamondbacks and all these trades and everything. So we will get to that here shortly. But again, opening day starter right now. Big talk of the town, or not talk of the town, but big I guess story today. And Zach Gallen, again, giving up one run, I guess, falls a little bit behind in that race. I don't know. I'm looking into it too far, but we're going to talk to Dalton about that and so much more on the other side of the break. Don't you guys go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Again, it is beautiful outside. It's Arizona. You want to spend more time outside, and a great way to do so is with All Pro Shades. I love the weather, but I'll admit I don't love standing in the sun sometimes. I definitely don't love sitting in it, but with All Pro Shades, you can extend your outdoor living space with a custom fit awning. They're roll down patio shades. They're super cool. I'm sure you guys have seen the commercials during certain Suns games and sporting events, but you can impress the family with your rollaway shades. They can replace and fix most old or outdated patio shades and motorized awnings, so they can fix yours or they can bring you a new one. So make sure check them out. They're licensed, bonded, and insured. Call 623-204-1476 or visit allproshadesconcept.com to schedule your free estimate. Big shout out to All Pro Shades for sponsoring the PHNX Diamondbacks show. Also, hot out already. I don't like it because again, I'm that guy, but I do find solace at America's Thirst Stop, aka Circle K. Make sure you join their Inner Circle program for free. It's easy to download. All you have to do is enter your email and phone number to be fully enrolled. After that, all you'll need is a phone number to input to get deals. You'll save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. You'll save 3 cents per gallon every day after that, plus all sorts of other member-exclusive deals and discounts, your favorite snacks, your favorite deals, all at Circle K. Thirst, meet your match at America's Thirst Stop. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. All right. Well, I promised it. And when I promise things, I come through. I'm joined today by my buddy and one of the biggest Diamondbacks aficionados in the world, snake aficionados. It's Dalton Feely. Dalton, what up, buddy?
How we doing? Let's go. What's
Oh,
up?
hold on 1 second. You're muted and got to get you in here unmuted. I don't think it's on your end. I think it's on our end. No?
Could be.
Oh, it might be on your end. We're blaming you now. Kevin has
Can
shifted
you hear
the
me
blame
now,
to you.
Kev? Can you hear me now, Derek?
There
Is
he
that
is.
better?
What's up, brother?
Unbelievable. I come in, I'm muted, my mic's not working. What the heck's going on?
Why? Yeah,
Spring training
coming in
for me
hot like that. It's fine. It's spring training. That's what this is for, Dalton. It's fine. We're trying to get back into regular season form.
I guess it's spring training for all of us. That's hilarious.
It really is. The first day I was out there, my phone died because I didn't charge it enough, and I didn't get all of Tori Lavello's pressers. So yes, it is spring training for all of us. But great to see you. Great to see Corbin Burnes have that outing on day one. I don't think you and I have even talked about the Corbin Burnes signing, but man, what was your reaction to that? What did you feel in your soul when you saw the Diamondbacks added Corbin Burnes?
It's so funny. Obviously I'm on the East Coast, so it's about like 1:15. I'm wrapping up prepping some talking baseball. I'm about to go to bed. I lay down. I'm laying down for like 5 minutes. I knock over my phone, and I'm on Do Not Disturb, and all I see are notifications. I'm missing
Yeah.
text. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then I see Burns signs for a 6-year deal, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm not going to sleep tonight. Let's go. I was quite all right with not going to sleep that day, pulling all nighter because Corbin Burns went to the desert. That was awesome, a la Zach Greinke. And man, this rotation stacked, filled with competition, just the way Mike Hazen wanted it to be. I'm very excited to see Burns' addition going into the regular season.
It's a surprising addition only because we were already having the discussion as to what this team was going to do with a 6-man rotation, what they were going to do with Jordan Montgomery. Was he going to come back, in shape? Was he going to come back, his old self? And so far, so good, aside from this minor setback with this flexor injury. But he will be throwing a bullpen tomorrow. It's just, that's it, right? Like, it was already a team that kind of had decisions to make. And instead of making those decisions or kind of trimming things down, they went in the other direction and just added another starting pitcher. And I mean, I've repeated this several times, but I love what Corbin Burnes said in the press conference. He said, you're never going to make it through a major league season with just 5 starting pitchers, which is the truth. And it couldn't be more true, right? But what do the Diamondbacks do? What are you doing here if you have this surplus of starting pitchers and you need to figure this out before opening day?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, Mike Hazen had said, we have to have many arms. You never know what's going to happen in spring training. And last year, only one pitcher for the Diamondbacks rotation made it over 152 innings. That's Brandon Pfaadt. It wasn't Gallen. It wasn't Kelly.
Yes,
some work
correct.
that the Diamondbacks had. It was young Brandon Pfaadt. So having more than 5 guys who are caliber plus MLB pitchers is massive going into the season. You never know what's going to happen in spring training. I really do think whatever happens in spring training health-wise will dictate what the Diamondbacks do with their rotation. I believe if everyone stays healthy, and let's say Monty is good to go for opening day.
Let's say he shoves. Let's say he comes out and looks great in spring training.
I think he's going to be the 5. I know Diamondback fans, including myself, kind of want to see Nelson or Pfaadt in there. I think Monty's going to get a shot to start the year. Yeah. As crazy as it is, you signed him to a 2-year, $50+ million deal. I think he's going to get a shot. But I think if everyone's healthy, no one is getting moved.
I think the one thing that I've heard is that you can't really increase his value until he performs in the regular season. Even spring training really doesn't bump up his value, right? So, like, if nothing more, if the Diamondbacks do plan on trading him, it's almost like it's foolish to not at least let him enter the season and start pitching before you would, again, I mean, it might not go your way, but that's the gamble you have to take at this point. And I think it's the only way that you can get any kind of value out of a trade for Jordan Montgomery. Meanwhile, you do have other pieces, not to say that Diamondbacks fans want to see those guys moved, but younger guys that have performed well recently that probably is going to yield you much more in return, but it's much more devastating due to the fact that they have, years of service to the team and all sorts of things like that left, right? Like, doesn't seem likely that they do that either. So I'm just kind of left. Like, I usually feel like I know which direction it's going to go, but I don't feel like I know this one. I really don't. I don't know what they're going to do with their starting rotation, and specifically, I don't know what they're going to do with Montgomery.
Well, I think the crazy thing is if everyone's created equal in terms of performance and there's no injuries, it really is going to come down to an option game, I believe. And I think that starts with Ryan Nelson. I think for how good he was in the second half, especially, it sucks. It really stinks. I hope, and let's say they go to a 5-man rotation. I think it's not going to be a 6-man rotation to start the year. I believe you should send down Fought and Nelson. I'd keep them as rotation arms. Consistently in AAA Reno. Let them continue being starting pitchers. Don't have them go back and forth, back and forth. You kind of saw what the Diamondbacks did in 2023 with Dre Jameson, and it resulted in him getting injured. And I kind of don't want to see that for Ryan Nelson and Brandon Fought.
Yeah.
So
you got to keep them stretched out. That's the one thing I think a lot of fans get frustrated with and don't really think about is like you need them to pitch. You can't just have them sitting idle and not staying stretched out. You need them available for that, for that event to be available should an injury happen. It just can only happen if they're pitching in AAA or pitching somewhere, right? Like, so that part is going to be, I think, the hard decision to make. And I think whatever the result is, 2 of these guys are not going to be in the rotation. And no matter which 2 it is, people aren't going to like it, like unless it's Jordan Montgomery, then I think a lot of fans are going to, they're going to be satisfied until they see him shove somewhere else, which I've been warning you all about. And when that comes, you will rue the day because you won't hear the end of it from me. But that's a whole other thing.
You will rue the day. Unbelievable.
I had to throw a rue the day
yelling at Diamondback fans. Unbelievable.
Hey, but speaking of the rotation, let's go to the other end of the rotation. We were talking about it in segment 1 a little bit, but obviously Burns looked great. Zach Gallen still looked great. He just gave up that dinger today, and not that it matters because it's spring training, but opening day starter. That's something that's kind of become a little bit of a story. Obviously, you have 2 very good candidates for there. Do you care as a fan who's an opening day starter? Like, does that matter to you? Because I was kind of talking about that a little bit.
I don't care about it unless it causes some drama within the locker room. Like, if Burns or Gallen cares about being the opening day starter, like, handle it however they want. I could care less as a fan. As long as those guys are healthy and pitching really well, you're not going to hear me complaining, right? Like, as fans, we only complain when players aren't living up to expectations or aren't playing well.
Right.
Gallen and Burns have been pretty darn good in their careers thus far, knock on wood. So whoever gets the ball rightfully deserves it. It's a 1A, 1B. I'm very curious to see what Torey does because it is an interesting decision. So I missed that segment. Where did you land on Burns versus Gallen? Who should start opening day?
I think it's going to ultimately end up being Zach Gallen only because of the fact that this could potentially be Gallen's last opening day start for the Diamondbacks. I think that there might be a little bit of feels go into it. It might be also the fact that he's done it for this team for the last 2 seasons, and now they have an opportunity again, just to have him be that for the purpose of, him being the guy here, right? Like giving him that nod, considering how good he's been in his time as a Diamondback. But I don't really care. Like I would prefer the more dominant starter goes out there. And in my opinion, that's Burns. I think Burns is the guy that's going to go out there and kind of set the tone for the season if he comes out and just absolutely dominates in that, first game against the Cubs. And then, you have the Diamondbacks suddenly just hyped up, it can completely change the tone. It's not to say that Zach Gallen isn't going to go out there and be consistently good as he has been in his entire career. It's just, what you can get out of Zach Gallen. And a lot of times it's not, you're going to get that flashy, awesome start every once in a while, but for the most part, you're going to get 3 earned runs or less and, a quality start and him going out there giving you 6 innings. And it's might not be as sexy as what Burns is going to go out there and do on the mound.
How about screw it? Let's go full heel. Monty, opening day starter.
Yes.
Let the fans go wild.
Yes.
Myself. Could you imagine if Corey comes out saying, "Yeah, Monty's looked great in spring training. Like we said, he's in the best game of his life. He's our opening day starter." Gives him confidence. Ride it.
It doesn't matter, right? It really does. Like once you get past opening day, once you get through the rotation the first time, everything's a mess. Things change. Days are in between stuff. There's all sorts of stuff that happens once you get into the regular season, right? But I love that. You're an agent of chaos.
Oh, we had a lot of chaos ball in 2023. I hope they go back to it in 2025. We kind of had a lesser version of it because we got more power in 2024, but we need that chaos back into that locker room.
I need that on a shirt too. More power.
Well,
We got more power today from Corbin Carroll. He hit his first dinger. You think he's gonna be back? We're gonna I don't know. He cut the flow. We got an aerodynamic Corbin. There's a lot there that I
yeah.
truly am excited about for this season. Seeing him hit the dinger today just kind of made me perk up a little bit. I was like, ooh, I don't know if we're gonna see that bat be as flat as it was last year.
Yeah, we've seen the spring training change in terms of his stance. We saw it when he was taking reps on the B field in terms of when he wasn't playing a game a couple days ago versus Ryan Thompson versus I believe Kevin Ginkel among other starters. That bat isn't as flat, so I think it's a change. Hopefully it's for the better. If we get second half Corbin, man, it's going to be a very exciting year.
Can you
for him.
imagine? Yeah, we get second half Corbin and second half Gino
The
all
whole
year
year.
long.
I mean, I think my semi-bold claim is there's a world where Corbin goes 30-30, if not like 30-40 this year. Like the power is the biggest question mark. Like I think easy lock is Corbin Carroll 35 stolen bases this year.
Yeah.
Like if he continues to get on base, he batted 231 last year, Derek.
I know.
231, and he still finished and that's with a very good second half. One of the best second half OPSs. I am super excited to see what he does. I will say, very funny, in the John Boy Media office today, I tweeted about the Corbin Carroll home run. I was excited. We're pumped. Corbin Carroll looks good in spring training. My friend Ryan Cohen, known Padres fan, boo him all you want. He comes up to me and he goes, "Dalt, are you really tweeting about Diamondback spring training?" I'm like, Ryan, I'm sorry that my team ownership hasn't been issues with that category. Tweeting about my team, like let me live a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I'm Corbin Carroll rake. I'm pumped for the year. The expectations are the highest it's ever been, arguably in my lifetime. Well, maybe since like the early 2000s.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's weird because this team does. I mean, that's why last year was a disappointment. How does a team win 89 games and still find it to be disappointing? Well, when the expectations were set incredibly high by 2023 season where we reach the World Series, the assumption is next year is better. The year after that's better. Like we're just going to keep getting better, right? Especially with a young team. Again, I've said it on this show a few times. I don't love the results, but I do love the ammunition that Torey Lovullo has as a manager. Like he's never going to let these guys forget that every single game, every single out, every single inning matters. And he'll be like, remember 2024? And he's going to be doing that forever until the day he dies.
Well, especially like as a community and fan base, like when we react to Paul Sewell blowing a game back in July, or when leads are blown, or where the offense goes quiet, like one game does matter ultimately. It could be in April, it could be in May, but look what happened. It relied on the Mets and Braves playing in a doubleheader where in game 2, one team did not care about winning the game and ultimately knocked the Diamondbacks out of the playoffs.
A lot of people there's a lot of games people talk about. I still think about the series against the Braves early on where like the Diamondbacks led every single game and blew them, right? Like that ended up being more detrimental than the Brewers game that they lost that I won't mention anymore. But hey,
Padres C squad, right? Ignore it.
We don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. But what I do need to do is I know you're a Jerry P guy. Thoughts on Perdomo getting his extension? He got 4 years, $45 million. What do you think about Jerry P, the heart and soul of this team, kind of getting that contract and securing his future here for a little while?
You just nailed it with the heart and soul. Like he is such an invaluable part of the organization. Take away Baseball Reference, take away Fangraph, Savant, all the baseball stats. He is, from what many people have said, the energy, the locker room guy that keeps everyone meshed together, collected. Like you really do need that. And plus, he's a positive defender at shortstop. He's a switch hitter. He gets on base. He doesn't chase out of the zone. He walks a lot. He doesn't swing and miss a lot. Like he does a lot of the small things. He's a baseball player's baseball player, right?
He really is.
And I give credit to Hazen and company, man. Like realizing that, hey, he's developed as a player. He's become a leader. Torey's really trusted him. Pay him through some of his arbitration years and then some. He's earned it. And a lot of the guys, from what it sounded like, and you would know better, Derek, they were pumped for Perdomo for getting the contract. He earned
it says stuff to guys that have a contract. It says something to guys that don't have a contract yet. You know what I mean? Like it says something to everybody because he truly is that guy that showed that hard work pays off, and not just hard work, but leadership and intangibles that you can't really measure, right? All the things I talk about that aren't quantifiable with Geraldo Perdomo. The fact that he's the first guy out there to the mound when a pitcher is struggling. The fact that he has been credited by pitchers for the support that he gives them. And I mean, again, sometimes it's very small stuff. You know, sometimes it's cheesy, sometimes it's cliche, but man, sometimes having a teammate pat you on the butt and tell you got this means the world when no one's doing that. When no one else is doing it, it feels good to have one guy out there still doing it for you. You know what I mean? And like that, Jerry's that guy. He's that guy that understands the importance of all of that stuff. But I think I don't think he's like calculating it in his mind. I think he's just doing it because at the end of the day, he's such a good person, right? And he's such a real good teammate and supportive person, honest, and it's genuine. It's not something that he's mustering up because he knows people are watching and it's going to make him look good. It's something that he's doing because he wants to support his teammate and his pitcher. And like that just that right there just shows me so much about him. But I think that, again, even though he's not a guy that, like some people that are baseball people might look at his statistics and say he deserved to receive this much money or that much money or whatever, you just can't base every decision on that. Some players are special for what they can do on and off the field, and sometimes it even is right there when you're on the field, but it's not the hit, it's not a defensive play, it's just you.
You know, like locker rooms, like you don't want 9 Geraldo Perdomos, and that's fine. You need guys to have their own roles, their own personalities, and Perdomo does his to a T. His personality is infectious, and that, like you said, it is who he is. So I'm super pumped for him. That left side of the infield, that is the good vibes infield for sure. I mean, my God, Daniel Suarez, and Geraldo Perdomo. You name me a more positive left side of the infield in baseball. I can't. I truly can't.
No. Just little heart bubbles floating around and everything like that. Well, hey man, I know we're gonna have you on again. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but before I let you go, Ketel Marte. I mean, he already looks solid. I saw him out there doing defensive drills and everything. He is just him, you know. And I guess I wanted to ask, do you think we'll see another MVP caliber season out of Ketel?
I hope so. I mean, I think everyone in Arizona really hopes so. And I will say yes. I think the question for me is, can he have the consistent power from both sides of the plate? Like, obviously, he crushed left-handed pitching last year, and I think that will continue. I am very curious to see if he takes a step up without Christian Walker, because the right-handed part of the Diamondbacks lineup in terms of power takes a hit without Seawalk. So Ketel,
for sure.
You know, and that's a big thing. Sure, you lose Jock, but you add Josh Naylor, so I think that's kind of very close to being a pure 50-50 swap. But Ketel Marte, I'm hoping for another 30 home run season in his bag. That would be fantastic. It would really help the Diamondbacks lineup, a lineup that was first in runs scored last year. And I would also love Clutch Ketel. He was a monster in the 9th inning last year, in close situations, in not so close situations. He finished in 3rd MVP last year. It would be fantastic if he's in 2nd, if not first. I'm just putting it out there. It could happen.
I like it. I like where you're going with that, and I love having you on. He is Dalton Feely. You guys probably all follow him on Twitter. But it's D Feely, right? Was it D Feely 14?
On the money. You nailed it, Derek.
D Feely 14. Make sure to follow him. He is an excitable boy that loves this team as much as me. So it's great to have him be a part of this community. And thank you, sir, for joining us. Like I said, we look forward to having you on again.
Always a pleasure. I love coming on. All the Dbacks fans out there, our community, much love. We'll be talking some ball.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you so much. All right. Well, you guys know what day it is and what we do on this day. And it was great to have Dalton on, but I probably could have kept him on to answer some questions because I'm sure people would have wanted to get his answers. But of course, like I said, you know what day it is. We're going to do that thing on the other side of this break. So, of course, don't you guys go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Well, I have to say, I love the good folks at Sanderson Ford. I love their diner over there. I've talked about that. But in celebration of Arizona being the 48th state of the union and Ford trucks being #1 in sales for 48 straight years, Sanderson Ford is celebrating with a presidential sale on 848 new vehicles, many with savings of $4,800 or more. Offers on 2024 models and include Ford rebates, Sanderson discounts, and Conquest cash, and flex buy discounts you must qualify for. See dealer for details. All offers expire on March 3rd, 2025, but shop with no hassle, no pressure, and no nonsense with the good folks over at Sanderson Ford. They are family, and again, they also have a great place to stop and eat. So get yourself a new vehicle and fill your belly up, and don't miss the Sanderson Ford presidential sale going on right now. Of course, that is if you want to ride in a vehicle that you drive. But if you're sick of driving yourself around, you can check out Waymo, which shout out to Waymo again for sponsoring this show and for sponsoring Mailbag Monday. We love Waymo, and that's because Waymo is great for spring training games. This traffic out here is a nightmare, Kevin. Kevin can attest to it because I called him while I was stuck in it. And I was like, hey, I might not make the show. I don't know. At least in a Waymo, I could do work on the way here or all sorts of other things. But one thing I know I wouldn't be doing, talking to a driver. They do have drivers, but it's an autonomous vehicle, so they're not in the vehicle with you. And their ride-hailing service consists of a nearly all-electric Jaguar. It's very beautiful. It's every vehicle that you see Waymo driving around town. They provide a consistent zero-emission experience for their riders. So download the Waymo One app and ride today. Again, great way to get around town. If you're here just for spring training, you probably might come from a town that doesn't have cars that drive themselves around like that. So check out Waymo. They have over 40 million miles of real-world driving experience. It's enough to drive to the moon and back. Check out Waymo now. Download the app. Well, like I said, you know what we do on Mondays. You know what we do around here. So every year on this show, Kevin, is our year. You know that. Every month on this show is Black History Month. It's also Women's History Month, and it's also Black Women's History Month on this show. Every day is Earth Day, but every Monday we go to the mailbag. Kevin, hit it!
Always something interesting in my mailbox.
Sing it.
And then once in a while, open my mailbox and say, wow, wow, my mailbox.
That was pretty good. I don't hate that. I don't hate that one bit. I mean, you did the best you could on a moment's notice. What do we got in the mailbag? Let's hear it.
All right, first mailbag question today, Derek, comes from the basketball and football guy who wants to know, what do you expect to be the everyday lineup versus left-handed pitching and right-handed pitching?
Ooh, that's a great question that I am totally not prepared for at this time. But I'll do my best. I think versus right-handed pitching, you're going to have what we've seen in the past, right? Nothing too crazy. Corbin Carroll leading things off. Ketel Marte is going to be right there after him. And then, Jerry P is going to be down in the ninth hole. I would say that we'll probably see Josh Naylor batting cleanup, and then Lourdes Gurriel there in the fourth hole, or Naylor batting third, Gurriel fourth. DH for right-handed pitching is Pavin Smith. You got Gino after him, then Jake McCarthy in center field, Gabriel Moreno, and like I said, Perdomo last. The only difference there for left-handed pitching, I guess, probably Grichuk, obviously, in the DH slot instead of Pavin Smith, but still batting fifth. And then kind of that's it. I don't know. Not too much. I think we're going to see a platoon of first base with Pavin Smith sometimes getting some action and maybe Josh Naylor in the DH. But I think for the most part, Naylor will play first base and we'll see Pavin Smith DHing. I think, honestly, even against right-handed pitching, we might see Randall Grichuk more than you think, because I think Randall Grichuk definitely had himself a pretty decent season last year against both against right-handed and left-handed pitching. So I don't know if the splits are necessarily going to disqualify Grichuk from getting in the lineup sometimes against right-handed. And probably not. Like, he probably still won't get in there. They probably favor the matchup. But I don't know. I told you this already. Grichuk is ripped. He's huge. He's jacked. So I'm putting him against everybody all the time. I'm gonna put him in as much as possible. I don't know. That's what I got.
All right, ripped Richie.
Yeah.
Richie, is that what we're calling him this year?
I don't know. That might we might need to call him that. We'll see what we got. What else we got?
Next question comes from our friend Piece of Yoshi, who wants to know, we're 0-3. Is the sky falling? Should we pack it up?
We are 1-3. First of all, let's adjust that. And yes, we should pack it up. It's over. It's a failure. This definitely is what our regular season record is going to be. No, I think the Dodgers lost again today. right? So are we thinking the Dodgers aren't going to make the playoff? They lost 8-1. The Dodgers are 1-4, and they just lost to the Reds 8-1. So yeah, no, my main takeaway here is that we can't take anything away from spring training results, and none of it really matters. Right?
Well said. No, you're right. I mean unless
you know what
the
matters?
Dodgers...
Drinking beers on the lawn, that matters. Your kids getting autographs from baseball players, that matters. What doesn't matter is their record or the results on the field. Injuries, that matters too. I want to see everybody staying healthy and looking good. So that's definitely what matters. Honestly, I found it funny because thinking back about what I just said, Brandon Pfaadt, of all people, brought up staying healthy when he was being interviewed so many times on multiple occasions. And I feel like that is very much on a lot of the starting pitchers' minds right now, especially considering that you know that there's this level of competition that should you even have an ache and pain, you might have people looking at you in a way that you don't want them looking at you, right? Like a 15-day IL kind of way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I thought when Dalton was on, he brought up the idea of sending Pfaadt down to AAA Reno to keep him kind of in that same rhythm of being a starter and
somebody's going to do that.
And he said that it reminded him of I forget the pitcher he brought up, but the pitcher Dre Jameson that got injured because of that same style, and it made me think exactly what you thought of wow, Brandon Pfaadt is really emphasizing health this year.
He is,
and I think that getting him in a rhythm where he can stay healthy is I think paramount for guys like that are kind of on the fringe of the rotation because they need all the reps they can get.
Yeah. I think the other problem too is that Torey Lovullo is the kind of guy that would sincerely ask you if you were okay with doing something. And you would say yes, because one, you don't want to let Torey down. And two, you're trying to be a good teammate, right? But they're not asking you because they're trying to pressure you into doing it. They're sincerely wanting your feedback. So you're kind of in an awkward position as a player to be like, yeah, I'll go to the pen, I guess. Like, no, you don't want to go to the pen. You don't want to go to the pen. Tell Torey to take his pen and shove it and stay as a starter forever. We need you to stay stretched out. I'm just saying that's the way I feel. But
you can ask Ketel Marte about that, because at the end of the year, Torey Lovullo was like, "Hey, I know your ankle's kind of banged up. Are you good to go?" And Ketel was like, "No, I mean, I'm not criticizing him for not playing, but I am saying I'm saying that to illustrate that Torey Lovullo will go to players and be like, hey, are you comfortable with me making this decision to either play you this, play you that, not play you, whatever?" And the player has an option to say yes or no. I'm comfortable or not comfortable with that decision.
Well, and even the way he phrased that, I think really in reality, Ketel even came to him and was like, I don't want to play. And Torey was just protecting his player by saying he was the one choosing not to play him, right? So Torey's a good manager like that. He understands that he would much rather take the heat and let the player concentrate on either getting healthy or playing the game of baseball rather than dealing with that kind of scrutiny. And he's smart for that. What else do we got?
Next question comes to us from Brett Lee Johnson, who wants to know, now that we've seen the ABS system in place for a few spring training games, what are your thoughts on that process, and what do you like or possibly dislike about it?
I love everything about it. You know what I don't love about it? I don't love the fact that when it happens, I'm not as excited about it because I feel like it suddenly brought the game to a halt, right? But then when they go through with the process is so quick, and the result, especially when they overturn the call, is so electric that, I mean, it's hard not to be excited about it. Like, the point of the game, just like with football, is to get the calls right. With football, you have a ton of reviews. Not only do you have the coach-initiated reviews in NFL, but you have a review on every scoring drive. You have the reviews within 2 minutes. So I think the review process is kind of accepted overall by fans in a lot of different sports. Tennis, soccer, football. Like, there's a lot of sports that use review. Basketball uses review, right? But I think, again, it can be a little egregious. Like, we saw the first pitch of a game called a ball, and then they reviewed it, and it was a strike for one of the Diamondbacks games. I saw Gabby Moreno get 2 of them, right? Like, get 2 calls reversed. That part was electric. The reaction from the dugout, the reaction from fans, all of that was very exciting. So there's so many things to like about it, and I think they've done a very, very good job at expediting the process and making it not feel like it delays the game a whole bunch. Have you had a chance to see it yet?
Yes, I was actually going to bring up my favorite part about it was all the tweets that are taking clips of the umpires seeing how wrong their call was in live time in front of everyone.
Yeah.
I think that's been the funniest part for me.
Yeah.
Is, when you make a
Just eat
mistake,
crow on
sometimes you make a mistake and you made a mistake, but no one else can kind of really tell how bad it was.
Yeah.
Oh, no, buddy.
We all saw.
We're breaking out.
It's on the Jumbotron.
We're breaking out every
Look,
every
it's in
4K.
3D.
Yep, yeah. It's in 4K in front of everyone on the 10,000-foot screen.
Yeah. Well, maybe, just maybe, one, that'll make them work harder to get the calls right because they don't want to be embarrassed on that kind of stage. And two, maybe, just maybe, it'll make umpires a little bit more accepting of the fact that they're wrong sometimes, right? Like, because some of them, and I'm talking to you, CB Buckner, are so defiant in like, how I've never been that sure of anything in my life as an umpire is about a bad call that he just made. Never, nothing. I don't have that confidence. I don't have that level of self-esteem. I could never sit there and argue with anybody about anything other than pineapple on pizza being wrong. I'm stand firm on this, and I know I'm right. And I know I'm right about pineapple on pizza. I know it. But anyway, yeah, I think that it's great. And I think that overall it makes the game better. It makes it more exciting. And it's a pain point for fans, right? Fans think that umpires can suck and they don't want to see them suck and they don't want to see them make bad calls. It's fine when the call is good. It's fine when your guy swings at the pitch or the pitch is an awesome pitch. Devin Williams throws his airbender and it lands in the zone and it just blows the guy away. We love that as fans. We're fine with that. It's just the fact that, you really find yourself at times, just wanting the call to be right. I know that because I feel that way when I watch games that I have no vested interest in. I still get mad that the call is so egregious. And I don't care. I'm not rooting for either team. I just want the call right. And I think that about football games, baseball games, doesn't matter what I'm watching.
I want to know how Terry Collins feels about this. I want to know if he feels like the manager is being given a chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With this. You got to give us a chance to see that on the Jumbotron. You got to give us a chance.
All right, what else we got? Let's get one more in real quick.
All right, next question comes to us from Britton Bobbitt, sick name, who wants to know, aside from the obvious Jordan Montgomery, which D-back has the most to prove this season?
Man, that's a really good question. Makes a good point about Jordan Montgomery. Jordan Montgomery has a ton to prove because he's in a career year, right? Like he has a final chance to get a big contract, and I mean, he has a chance to really rebound after one of the worst seasons a pitcher could have. I feel like the obvious answer here is probably a Zach Gallen. And again, for the same reasons, like Zach Gallen needs to prove how good he is so that he can go out there and get the contract that I'm sure he feels like he's deserved his entire career. To be honest, he's been one of the most consistent pitchers in Major League Baseball. So I feel like he does deserve it. However, this is an important year. It's not like last year was stellar enough for him to hang his hat on and be proud of and feel like he had one of his best seasons. So I think he's going to come out this year and have so much extra motivation to shove. You could say that about a lot of guys that are coming into their final years of their contract. Merrill Kelly, again, Jordan Montgomery, but Zach Gallen's special, right? Zach Gallen is trying to be considered one of the elite pitchers in Major League Baseball. And I don't know if everybody considers him to be that. I don't know if he's going to get that $200+ million deal that he might be seeking this offseason. So again, I think Zach has a lot to prove. I also think Corbin Carroll personally has a lot to prove. I think Corbin, went out there and after winning the Rookie of the Year, kind of had a disappointing, first half for himself, for fans, for the franchise. He proved that he is the guy that we thought he was by being able to turn it around. And that's something that most bad baseball players can't do, right? They can have a good season. They can have a good stretch at any point. But most players that aren't, the caliber that we think Corbin Carroll is can have the slump that he went through and then figure out a way to get out of it and then, be able to perform and provide what he did for the team in the second half. But I think Corbin probably personally has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder about something to prove this year. So. All right, well, we'll get to some more Mailbag Monday questions on the other side of this break, but you are watching the PHNX Diamondbacks show. Don't you go anywhere. Well, I say don't go anywhere unless you're going to go get some pure edibles. And if you're going to go get some pure edibles, why aren't you sharing with me right now? I've had a stressful day. I could use some. And if you are stressed out, you're not sleeping well, or if you're looking just to elevate your mood, you can do so with pure edibles gummies. They're not covered in sugar like all their competitors, and they get you to where you're going. They have clear effects listed on all of their products, and they're also shareable. You can break them, you can get the exact dosage you're looking for. Most importantly, they were founded in Arizona, right here in Flagstaff at Noble Herb Dispensary, the home of pure edibles. And they are now made in Phoenix, Arizona. They are available in 130 dispensaries statewide. So go find yourself some pure edibles products from one of those dispensaries. And like I said, share. I'm hanging out here. Come bring me some. Bet365, by the way, whatever the moment, it is never ordinary with Bet365. It is the time to get down on some preseason bets. You can get down on who you think is going to win the World Series. More importantly, get down on live in-game betting on all sorts of sports, including Suns games, which at times can be very depressing. But again, I've said this about the Diamondbacks. I will say it about the Suns. Just because your team loses doesn't mean you have to. Go bet against them. That way you can hedge yourself emotionally. You either get money or you get to see Kevin Durant ball out. One way or another, you're gonna be happy. And with the Bet365 early payout offer, you're a winner if your team goes up by 20 points, with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections will also be marked as winners. Go download the app right now and use that code of PHNX365 when you sign up. When you do, new customers will get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you bet $5. All you gotta do is sign up, use that code of PHNX365, deposit $10 and place a bet of $5 or more to get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, total, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 and over and physically located in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov. All right, Kev, what else we got? I know we got some more questions in the mailbag. Let's get to it.
Oh, yeah, we do. The bag is deep. Travis Moore wants to know, taking my daughter to her first Dbacks game, April 14th.
Let's go!
What advice can you give a dad for entertaining kids during the game? She will just have turned 4 the week before the game. Before the game.
Download Bluey on your tablet before you come. That's the first thing I would say. There's not a good internet connection. So I'm going to be honest with you. Download Bluey. Get some episodes on there. It's just a backup plan. I'd say the first thing is that like baseball games are so much fun for kids, and especially a 4-year-old, man. I mean, it's this entirely new world to them. And I mean, I know the Diamondbacks don't have a lot of history. I know Chase Field doesn't have a lot of history, but there's a lot of things that are historic to me and a lot of Diamondbacks fans. I think taking a little one around the ballpark before the game is always a smart move because you can tend to move around a little easier. Maybe not so many people there yet. You can also tire them out so that hopefully they'll want to sit in the seat a little longer and watch the game. And I say that because I have a daughter who's always been very mobile. The little ball thing out front with the art exhibit, I guess they could say, it's the constantly move. I know there's an actual name for it, but you guys know what I'm talking about. The ball's bouncing around. It plays taking out to the ballpark on a little thing. Kids love that. Kids can stare at that for hours. So make sure to stop by that. There's Baxter's den up on the upper deck in the 300 section. There's slides. There's fun things to do. Baxter has a little house up there. Comes out. If you bring a laser pointer or a piece of string, he'll go nuts. But yeah, I mean, you got to get a picture with Baxter. You got to get the stuff. You got to make sure that she gets an ice cream in a helmet. That's a must. Has to have the ice cream in a helmet. Don't do the churro dog. I've told you guys my feelings about don't do the churro dog, get the ice cream in the little helmet, all right? But again, prepare to not watch very much baseball yourself and prepare to move around a lot because kids love to do that. But again, if you can tire her out early, you might get nap time so that you get to enjoy a little ball yourself. Who knows? But it's 3 hours, so don't ever expect a child to stay engaged for that long. Go show her the pool, and again, just take her around, show her how wonderful Chase Field is, at least until it gets hot out. So April 13th, I think you'll still be good. So I hope you guys have a blast. Also, yeah, make sure she, gets to see all the stuff. Baxter, players hitting home runs. Maybe I'll tell you this, you'll get whatever autograph or everything you want signed. So that's also something that's a tip. And I think someone said sign her up for the kids club. If you take her over to the kids club, they'll give you something, I think, on the first day. So I don't know how often you're going to bring her back, but make sure to stop by the kids club. I think I got everything. Buy her a hat too. Buy her a hat while you're at it. Make sure she gets a hat. Let her pick it out. There's pretty ones with, bejeweled and stuff. She'll love it.
I just want to say, if you're not a fan of stocks, if you're going to take a baseball to get it autographed, at least get it autographed in the sweet spot so that it's more valuable later. But I was also going to say, the statue, the little interactive take me out to the ball game thing.
Yeah, the thing out front.
It's called Based on Balls. It's
Oh.
like an I'm looking at the public
It's
art
like an art
archive.
exhibit, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at the public art archive. Based on Balls, artist George Rose by Creative Machines
That's awesome.
out of Phoenix.
It's
It's powder coated steel alloy with acrylic and wood.
Can I just say, there's been so many times where I've been leaving the park at like 11 o'clock at night and there's not another person in the whole world there. And I still go and just watch that for a little while. It's so calming. It's my happy place. All right, what else we got in bag?
Next up is from Jacob Schultz, who wants to know, which D-back do you think has the worst road rage with all these snowbirds back in the valley? Great question for today's experience.
That's hilarious. Well, let's see. I've seen Cattell drive around in his very pretty car. I don't think it's Cattell. Cattell has a fast car and he drives slow. So Cattell is chill, and I don't think it's him. The first person that comes to mind is Dre Jameson.
My mind went to the same place.
Fire in his blood?
Yes.
Yes. You can't have fire in your blood and also be a patient driver. If you have fire in your blood, you've definitely called someone else an MFer at full volume with your window rolled up. You know what I mean? That kind of person, like foaming at the mouth a little bit. I know that because I'm one of those people. I think Josh Naylor, he said he was a gentleman, raised as a gentleman. I believe that portion. I don't believe he acts gentlemanly when he drives in a vehicle and is stuck in traffic.
I think I do.
You think so?
I really think I do. I feel like Josh Naylor is one of those people who is so calm outside of their profession, and then when they're locked into their profession, they're so competitive. They just want to be the best. They become this psycho version of themselves. But I really think Josh Naylor is a normal dude.
I don't know. His walk-up music is Crazy Train. So I feel like Josh Naylor is very self-aware of what he is and who he is. And I'll leave it at that. I just think, like, sometimes it's fine to be self-aware. And when you are, you can find yourself in an area of peace. Just not when you're driving. Because people drive you nuts, and that's the way driving works. That's what driving was made for. I will say this. We are getting here to the end of the... do we even have to do the hour thing? I don't think we're on Fast TV.
If you are...
Jacob can't stop me right now.
We're
not stopping.
We're an outlaw. We're an outlaw country right now.
If you just want to keep watching, go over to the website. But I know you're not watching on TV right now. So, I mean, maybe this... you know what? You're probably getting this on replay. So this is Garrett from the past, and I'm here to warn you about a great calamity, but I'm not going to tell you now. You're going to have to watch it over on GoPHNX.com. So come on over. See, Elise says no one can stop me. There is no one to stop me here. This is what happens when you don't give me a co-host and leave me here alone with Large Intimate. He's not going to stop me. He's only going to egg me on and antagonize me. But anyway, if you're watching on Fast, go over. If you watch on TV, come on over. Join us on GoPHNX.com. We got more questions from the mailbag?
Yeah, we do. Next question comes from Hanley, who wants to know, what is your review of Innings Festival? Top 5 things you experienced at the festival.
Oh, my God.
Man, I wish I could have been there.
I loved Innings Festival. It's so... I'll get this out of the way. I am disappointed in myself with how hot I was when the temperature out was actually quite nice. Right? It was like 79, with a slight breeze. And I was just miserable from 3 to 5 p.m. I don't know how I'm going to do Reggae Rise Up in April. I'm telling you that now, but I will be out there in some capacity. I love so many things about it. First of all, I guess I'll start off with saying Fall Out Boy rocked. And I wasn't expecting that. At my age,
you what?
I wasn't expecting that. Here's why. I'm not discounting them as a band. I'm not a huge fan. My daughter wanted to see them much more than I did. But it's one of those bands, like my wife did this to me with Depeche Mode one time, where I didn't know how many Depeche Mode songs I knew until she drugged me to a Depeche Mode show, and they also rocked. But yes, Fall Out Boy performed for nearly 2 hours. And they were incredible. I couldn't believe how many songs of theirs I actually did know. And they were amazing. Like, I couldn't believe how good they were. Black Keys, also very good. But the second greatest moment goes along with that, which, as many of you saw on Twitter, There were a couple in front of me that were so excited to see the Black Eyed Peas. They were talking about this maybe being the first time they've been together in years. They talked about Will.i.am and Fergie, and they were just sitting in this little grassy area on a blanket right in front of me, and I was tee-heeing the whole time, just tee-hee the whole time, because it was hilarious to me that these people actually thought at some point they like misread the poster or the rundown and were completely convinced that the second act before the end of the night was going to be the Black Eyed Peas. I was in love with these people. I could not get enough because they were so dead serious. Their conversation lasted a while. My daughter and wife walked very far distant away to go use the bathroom. I had nobody to share this with except Twitter, and I did. But then they moved, and I tried to follow them, but it got dark quick, and then I lost them. I'm not gonna lie, I got tired of chasing them after a while, and then I just settled for a spot and watched the Black Keys perform, and they were amazing. There was a Korean bulgogi cheesesteak sandwich that I have to give honorable mention to. It was the same one they were serving.
Was it Just Toast?
Just Toast.
Oh my God.
I know no free ads, but I'm going to give a free ad right now.
Yeah, no,
if you ever see Just Toast, go eat their amazing bulgogi cheesesteak sandwich.
It is incredible. Sorry, Max, for this. Definitely
I'm sorry. It's going to happen.
But
it's going to happen. There's nobody here to stop us, Kevin. I already established that.
Yeah, we're in the outlaw country now. But this is I forget what farmers market. We're not going to double up the free ads because I actually forget. I actually genuinely forget.
No.
But they're at farmers markets. You can get them there too. It's the most beautiful, most gluttonous sandwich I've ever had in my life.
It's got egg on it.
It's got an egg in there, big juicy yolk.
It's just
it's
amazing to watch them make as it is to eat. It's delicious.
You're looking at them put all this material in between two thick, like almost Texas toast
It was so
buns.
great.
And you're like, how is this all going to fit in there?
It was so great.
It's not barely going to fit in there. But it's all going to go in your body. It's going to be delicious.
I don't know how it's going to fit in my mouth, but it's going to. That's the way it's going to work. I loved it. I love the food selection. I love the drink selection. They did a great job with that. Another highlight, I guess, on the same level is the merchandise was amazing, and it was very hard to resist because I don't have, concert merchandise money any longer, but I know so many of you out there did, and they had like some great brands, great shirts. Just they always bring their best. But let's see what we're up to, like 4, I think. Seeing baseball podcast on stage with Off the Mound with Ryan Dempster was really cool. I thought that again, as someone that does a job that some people say is a baseball podcast, it was cool to see that on like a big stage and to see them out there. Like he had like a cool like late night kind of desk setup that I really dug. Like I was feeling the whole setup, but I think it was just the celebration of baseball as a whole everywhere. There were fans wearing jerseys of every different team, and like I don't know, it's just what Innings Fest is what makes it so good, right? Is that like it truly is the kickoff to the beginning of the season. The only complaint I have is that Innings Fest needs to like happen before the actual baseball games happen. I know a lot of people were kind of had a choice whether to go to the Diamondbacks game or go over to Innings Fest or go to both, but miss like the beginning of Innings Fest. So like we need to get that scheduled, figured out. Like MLB needs to work together with Innings Fest to have it be the kickoff to their season. Get some cameras there, get some, make it into an event.
I don't know the full situation, but I almost feel like the MLB needs to do these extra innings and innings fests in every city as like a kickoff.
Like a joint thing where it's like
all across the nation, everyone's celebrating baseball coming back.
Well, at least they could at least do it in Arizona and Florida because that's where all the teams are for this, right?
That'd be even better. You could do the spring training locations, and that would be that.
Are we doing phrasing? We're doing phrasing again. I thought we weren't. I didn't know we were still doing phrasing. All right, what else we got?
Danger zone. Michael Rokicki wants to know, do we know about any new food offerings this year at Chase Field? That's getting right down to the brass tacks.
Yeah, no, I do not know of any new food offerings this season yet because the Diamondbacks typically have a day, which I will bring you personally. I will be there trying every item myself, doing the hard work, that someone really needs to do, getting down into the trenches. You guys were asking who's going to report from Chase Field now that Jesse's gone? Me, I am. I'm going to be there eating the food and telling you guys how good the food is. No, my journalism work isn't the quality nearly of Jesse, but I will say, I'm sure there's a couple of things I saw during like concerts that they had there that I'm really interested to see because it really felt like the food is getting outrageous. Like at the what was it? It was the Green Day concert. They had one of the most ridiculous sandwiches with grilled cheese and then like chicken tenders on top. It's going to be big. It's going to be amazing. And you're going to share one thing with your whole family and you all will fill up. But no, I don't know. I think that there's some things I would love to see them bring back. And when I say that, of course, I'm talking about the pork belly nachos. And I want to make sure that when they do that, they make them right. And, you know, I had a lot of complaints about them, but when done properly, the pork belly nachos might quite possibly be the best thing that they have at Chase Field. I also miss the bao buns. Like maybe just maybe, give me an entire Korean food stand.
Ooh.
Because they do a lot of Korean food. And I love Korean barbecue. I love Korean food. So maybe, you know, maybe diversify things up and give me like just an all Korean food stand. And they have the Mediterranean, like the Greek stand now. So, I mean, again, give me some more of that. There's a lot of repeat, and this isn't just a Chase Field. There's a lot of repeat food stands at a lot of, you know, ballparks and stadiums.
I hate that.
Yeah, give me less of that. Like Footprint Center does a pretty good job of that because I walk around, I'm like, oh damn, like I didn't know. Oh, they got like barbecue over here and so like little like there's a nice, you know, selection when you walk on the main concourse at Footprint Center. Or wait, it's not called that anymore.
Oh, just the
what do we got? The PHNX Center, right?
Hooter Center?
The Hooter Dome.
Oh no, I was gonna say
we'll workshop it. We'll figure it out. I know people online were doing it.
I was gonna say I was just back in St. Louis, obviously this past weekend, and something really cool that they do in the stadiums there, like for the MLS Stadium and for the Blues Enterprise Center, formerly Scottrade Center. They do like local places. So it's they had like, you know, a bunch of local barbecue spots. They had some burger places at the Enterprise Center. But obviously you'd have your generic like, oh, burger place, beer place, whatever. But there weren't a lot of repeats, and it was mostly local spots that you could also go eat at throughout the city if you wanted to afterwards. So yeah. I think more places should do stuff like that. Work with more local restaurants, because then you have your favorites at the arena.
I'm going to give up another free ad right here, but Hurtado Barbecue was inside of Globe Life Field in Texas, and I wanted it, but the line was so long for it every time I walked past that eventually I just gave up on going, and then found out that there was a Hurtado very close to our hotel and made a trip, right? So like there's a benefit there for a local business, not only to have obviously that incredible space and have people coming through and you know, buying your food like that, but there's also
the
that
brand
advertising.
Placement. Yeah, brand placement's a real thing.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I think we got one more in the bag. What else we got?
Last but certainly not least.
Let's give it to me.
When was the last time you felt old? Mine
About
was when
45
I found out.
minutes ago.
Mine was when I found out that I actually like the long video content more than the short one.
God.
I miss annual spring training clubhouse access videos on YouTube. Sad
Me
face.
too. There are so many things in life that make me feel old like that. Just in general, when I had to have a meeting with Leah and Shane here at the office about short form content, and people started telling me that kids these days no longer have the attention span for anything longer than 55 seconds. And I didn't know what to do with myself, especially considering so many of you go to watch the extended version of Lord of the Rings in the theater and the whole Batman movie, but you don't have time to watch something that's 6 minutes long. Oh, I'm sorry. Are your lives so busy? No, I don't know. I mean, there's things like that that definitely make me feel old, and it's mostly when people tell me. I try my best to adapt to this world that we live in, folks. I really do. I don't want to be one of those, you know, old fogies that doesn't I want to still be talking about Third Eye Blind and music from the 90s. I know Doechii. I know stuff. I watch things. My daughter teaches me slang and then hates that I use it. But it doesn't mean that I don't feel old every single time I'm doing it. Every single time I find myself analyzing how this world is different from when I was a kid, and I don't say it out loud. I'm not doing that crap. I'm not going to be one of those guys. But it runs through my head every single time where I'm like, my God. Oh, remember when I was 13? Oh no, this isn't good. But no, I think that's the thing is like, yeah, when you hear stuff like that and you appreciated that a team used to give you like, oh, hey, we're doing like full on 30-minute episodes, maybe with commercials or something, but like we're giving you all this stuff. And then they say like, oh, people don't want that anymore. Like, I mean, I don't know. I said there's no way I said I know stuff. Like I probably did though.
I
right?
think you
Was that a
said
direct quote.
I know, and then you gave an example. I know Dochi. I know stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
I do know stuff. I know some things.
It was at the end of a et cetera kind of situation.
Yeah. No, I know. But I will say another thing that makes me feel old is being older than the oldest baseball player that's still playing the game. Nothing makes me feel older than that. My delusions of playing any sport have long passed, right? Those are dead. Those died in the mid-20s, early 30s. But the idea that I am now older than the oldest man, like people are mocking him and I'm older than him, right? It just really sends a message to me how over my playing days are.
This guy's 38. What does he even have left?
Oh my God.
What does he even have left in the tank? Does he have any more left? Is there any more much more for him to do in his life?
Like, why is he even still alive at 38? What are we doing here? How did people live this long? Yeah, that's how it feels. So
being the youngest guy in the office, I feel like the opposite sometimes. Like I feel like there are a lot of times where people say things and I'm like, oh wow, I'm young. Like I feel very young right now. Yeah. Like I don't know. So there are some things like people reference things in the office. I'm like, I don't know what that is. I think maybe I need to educate myself a little more.
Man alive,
I need to educate myself a little more. But I'm also going through that little bit of ego death that you were just talking about. Because now that I'm 23, there is not a single draft pick for the most part that is. I mean, 23 is like kind of the cutoff, right? Yeah. But like, there's not a single draft pick that no prospect that I'm younger than. No. I gotta start calling people kids. Like, oh, these youngins, this kid in the draft. Oh man, it's awful there.
I'll tell you.
I'm getting old there.
I know. Well, let me tell you, as someone who has 1 foot in the grave, I feel you, pal. But no, I mean, there's a lot of things that definitely make me feel old on a constant basis. But I will say being around these guys make me feel young, and I'm appreciative of that for sure. So also you people are amazing, and I appreciate you guys so much for stopping by, for checking out the show. I appreciate Bees for wanting more one-man Derek shows. I don't know who wants that, but Bees might be the first and the last. I appreciate you, though, so much, and every single one of you. Of course, we are going to be back on Wednesday with another episode, so make sure to join us then. In the meantime, you can follow me on Twitter. I am at Cap_Caveman with a K. Kev is at Kevo Posts. Make sure to follow him as well. Our show is at PHNX_Dback. But, of course, all roads do lead to at PHNX_Sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We thank you guys for your questions. Thank you for stopping by so much. Most importantly, we thank you for loving baseball and for loving the Arizona Diamondbacks. I do have some fun merchandise on the way. I got to get a little sneak peek at the new stuff coming. I hope you guys really dig it, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. Until then, we'll be back, like I said, on Wednesday. Hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday. Hope you guys behave yourselves. And most importantly, remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when you have to decide between Corbin Burns and Zach Gallen as your opening day starter.
We all silly like the mayor.